Hello and welcome to Unruffled Baking. I hope you enjoy today's allergy-friendly recipe. Today we are making roly-poly pudding. You will need 225 grams of plain flour, half a teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 110 grams of shredded suet. If you are vegetarian or vegan, there is a vegetable suet available. A jam of your choosing. It's best if the jam has a nice strong flavour. A tablespoon of golden caster sugar, a little water, an oven-proof dish that has been greased with dairy-free margarine, a mixing bowl, baking parchment, some scissors, a mixing spoon, a stapler, and a rolling pin. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees. Line the oven-proof dish with the baking parchment. You'll need to use quite a bit of baking parchment as it must cover the top of the pudding. Add the flour, salt and baking powder to the mixing bowl and mix them together. Next, add the suet and mix it in as well. Make a well in the centre of the dry ingredients. Start adding the water a little at a time, mixing it in each time. This was one of my favourite puddings as a child. I used to ask for it for my birthday instead of cake. Keep adding the water until you have a soft dough that is not sticky. If the dough does get sticky, knead in a little plain flour. Bring the dough into a ball. Knead the dough a little. Lightly flour the work area. You will need to roll the dough out to 1/2 centimeter thick in an oblong shape that is no wider than the oven-proof dish you are planning to cook it in. Wet the tips of your fingers. Dab water around the edge of the pastry about 1 inch wide. Now start spooning jam onto the pastry. Spread the jam over the pastry up to where you've dabbed water around the edge. If you move the back of the spoon back and forth over the jam, the friction will melt the jam a little and make it easier to spread. Now it's time to roll up the pudding. You want to lift the pastry as you roll and place it down gently on the next section. If you just roll up the pastry without lifting, the jam will be pushed out the end. My mother can roll the pudding up without spilling a drop of jam. As you can see, I can't. But getting a bit of jam on the outside of the pudding does no harm. Flatten out the two ends and dab some water on, then fold the ends over and pat them down. The water you dabbed around the edge of the pastry should have helped stick the edges down and seal the jam inside. If there are any gaps where jam is spilling out, dab some more water on and squidge the edges down. Place the pudding in the lined oven-proof dish. Sprinkle over the golden caster sugar. Bring the two edges of the baking parchment together and fold them over a couple of times. Staple the folds down. Then fold over the two ends of the baking parchment and staple them down as well to make a sealed bag. Place the pudding in the oven and cook for 40 minutes. After 40 minutes, cut open the baking parchment bag and cut away any excess baking parchment. Be careful to remove all of the staples. Put the pudding back in the oven for 20 minutes. And now you have roly-poly pudding. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe.